Hey guys, it's that girl. I know I should probably be standing up because that's my new video thing, but I thought this video would be a sitting down video, so I sat down. So I watched the second episode of this series of Sherlock. I know I'm a bit behind, like a week behind, because as a rule we don't watch TV on Sundays, so we watch it as a family. We watch it on catch up, so it usually ends up being the Saturday before. So I'm filming this on a Sunday. I watched it last night. So anyway, if you think back to a week ago, if you've seen it, there's a couple of things I'd like to say. The whole episode was quite troubling. I mean, there was a creepy serial killer, you know. I'm sorry, but I'm just not a fan of the druggy scenes. Like, you know, when everything's kind of blurry or misshapen and everything's just a bit unclear. I'm kind of like, can you just show me what's going on a bit? Because I know the show is Moffat's baby, but they like their transitions, and it's just not for me. It's nothing wrong with, I mean, it's perfectly fine to do. Nothing wrong with it. I just don't like that kind of style, I guess. It was quite a cool thing when Sherlock was deducing, like, the window and everything. That was quite cool. That was a cool effect. But what I really want to talk about is the end of the episode. When John finds out it's Sherlock's birthday because the woman has texted him, and he tells Sherlock to text back. There's nothing wrong with that. First of all, you're allowed to text people back. It was quite cool. He deduced that it was his birthday. That was a smart moment, and it was quite funny. You heard the text noise, you know, it was the woman. And it was, John's speech was, I get it was kind of a tribute to Mary in the, you know, it's act while you still have something, you know, if you have a chance you've got to take it before it's gone, don't take it for granted, etc, etc. The bit where he said something about it completes him as a person, that pissed me off, okay? Because that's a lie. That's just a lie, okay? Some people are in romantic relationships, and that's great. I'm genuinely happy that they're happy, if they are happy in them. If they're not happy, leave. If you're not happy, then I'm unhappy for you. But if you're happy, I'm genuinely happy for you, if you're in a romantic relationship. But for anyone who's not in a romantic relationship, it was kind of a slap in the face. Because there are plenty of people who want to be in romantic relationships and aren't. They're probably trying to be, they're probably talking to people, they might be on various sites, whatever. But that's gonna hurt, because it's gonna deeper ingrain the need for them to be in a romantic relationship, and it's gonna lower their standards, to be honest. Like, they're gonna go for the nearest person that comes along that is willing to be in a romantic relationship with them, and that could be a really damaging relationship for them. Like, seriously, think about what you say in TV shows. It actually affects society. Because if you want to be in a romantic relationship and you're not, you might be okay with that, you might be waiting, but then you hear it completes you as a person, they're going to be like, what am I doing wrong? It's like, I'm not complete. How can I be complete? They're going to get desperate, okay? I mean, some people, not everyone will, but, and people who don't want to be in a romantic relationships, like aromantics, or people who just prioritize other things in their life, which is perfectly acceptable, they're going to feel so much worse than they already did, because the world is constantly hinting at them that they're weird, that they're wrong, all the time. Like at the end of films when people escape the friend zone. Okay, mate, first of all, you were never in the friend zone. It was obvious. Okay, sometimes it's called being friends first. Not every relationship has to start off sexual. What's wrong with you, world? You perv? And that's not real life. Some friends are just friends. That's okay. Yes, even if it's a boy and a girl and neither of them are gay. Yes, it happens. Calm yourself. Stephen Moffat was talking about the relationship between Irene Adler, Sherlock and John. This is what he said. It's always definitely a love story. I don't see why that means that sex has to be involved. What a weirdly sexualized world we live in, where you insist they must be having sex as well. Why would they? John isn't wired that way, whatever Sherlock is. But I think that whole scene, when Irene Adler has to say she's mostly gay, she's had relationships with men as well, but that's not what it's about. Sherlock Holmes is indifferent to sex. So is Irene. She uses sex to get what she wants, and John Watson happily has a string of girlfriends. Sex is not really the issue among these people. Love is. Infatuation is. I think John Watson is infatuated with and fascinated by Sherlock Holmes. I think Sherlock Holmes absolutely relies completely and utterly on John Watson and is devoted to him. I think Sherlock is infatuated to the point where he can barely function around Irene Adler, and Irene Adler isn't initially fascinated by him and then falls for him completely. Thinks there's another person in the world as damaged as I am. How brilliant. Who says any of them are having sex with each other? What a weirdly sexualized world we live in. I think you're the one who's obsessed with sex, mate. I don't know about you, but I always related to Sherlock Holmes. Like Moffat said, he's indifferent to sex, right? I took that to mean he's asexual. I don't know about you, but I always related to him that way, even before I knew I was asexual, just because he didn't care for romantic relationships. And I'm aromantic, and that meant something to me, because he liked his work. He didn't need anyone else. He got bored sometimes, and yes, he is a high-functioning sociopath, whatever, but he didn't need anyone that way. He didn't need a romantic relationship. But oh, now of course he needs a woman in his life, because everyone is heterosexual and everyone wants a romantic relationship, and anyone who thinks other than that or feels differently is strange. Maybe Sherlock just appreciated that Irene Adler was smart because she escaped him and she duped him multiple times. Maybe he just thought she was fun to be around. Also, they changed the original story to make it more about sex. They announced that she was going to be a lesbian, and you thought, oh great, that means, they didn't announce it, but we were told that Irene Adler was going to be a lesbian, and for a lot of people that meant a great deal because they were being represented, and it meant that, oh, maybe this time there won't be a love interest, maybe they'll just be friends, or just maybe they'll have an unromantic relationship for once. But in the original story, A Scandal in Bohemia, I think it was, and I'm not normally this type of person, I haven't read it, I heard it from my sister and Claudia Berlin, who is a channel I will link after the video and in the description. I'm not normally the type of person who says, oh, but in the original of this story, blah 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 blah, because I don't generally read the original. I like modern things, but that ish gets to me. Okay, in the original, she wasn't a dominatrix. She was a regular woman. She had a romantic relationship with, I think, the king or something, and he wasn't the nicest. And he wanted to get rid of her. He wanted to make her out to be some kind of criminal because he wanted to marry someone else, and because he's the king, he didn't want it known that he'd had that kind of relationship with a commoner. And she did actually like him, but she accepted that it wasn't going to happen, and she outsmarted Sherlock, and she left and went and had a peaceful life. And Sherlock didn't really care because the king wasn't that nice, and he was like, well, case done. You know, because the king had employed Sherlock, I think, to try and get some evidence or something against her, or get the evidence that they'd been in a romantic relationship so that he could destroy it. Now, the new story is fine, I guess, but the point of Irene is that she wasn't interested in Sherlock that way. They said she was, and they presented her as a lesbian, and yet it's Sherlock Holmes, so of course she turned. The F? No, I'm pissed off, and that's why I made this video, because it's important that people know that romantic relationships aren't a necessity in your life. You can live without a girlfriend or boyfriend. Romantic relationships are great, and they can add to your life, but don't think for a second that without them anything is taken away. You're not missing any part of your life or any part of yourself without a romantic relationship. Okay? You have friends. Friends are good. Friends are great. Okay? As I said before, you don't have to start off as a romantic relationship. It can just be friends, and that might develop into something else, but it doesn't have to. So if you're in a romantic relationship or not, I hope you're happy. I really do. Your life matters, you matter, and there are people that love you. So have a great day wherever you are. Have a great night if it's night where you are. And if you see Stephen Moffat, just ask him if he knows how humans work, because I'm genuinely concerned that he doesn't. Also, married women can be useful after having kids. Just saying. But that's none of my business. This is a cut.